There's a part of menopause that rarely gets spoken about out loud. It's not just the hot flushes, the sleepless nights, or the mood swings. It's the silent erosion of something even deeper, your self-esteem. The way you start looking in the mirror and no longer quite recognize the woman staring back. Maybe you catch a glimpse and think, when did I start to disappear? That feeling? It's your self-worth calling out for help. And what makes it even harder is that it creeps in slowly, almost silently, until it begins to affect every corner of your life, including your sex life. Because here's the truth, when your self-esteem takes a hit, so does your desire. And not because your body has changed, bodies are meant to change, but because the way you feel about your body shifts. Suddenly you second-guess yourself. You start covering up a little more in bed. You hesitate before seeking intimacy. You wonder if your partner still sees you the same way, or worse, if they ever did. These thoughts don't always come out in words, but they show up in the silences, the excuses, the distance, and most of us have no idea how much power they hold over our sexuality. You see, menopause doesn't just alter your hormones, it shakes your entire identity. For years, maybe even decades, you've been conditioned to believe your value lies in youth, in smooth skin, in being attractive in a very narrow and often unrealistic way. And when those things start to fade, or simply to shift, it brings a strange kind of grief. But no one tells you that. They just tell you to take supplements and drink more water. No one talks about how lonely it can feel to no longer see yourself as desirable, or how painful it is to carry the shame of a low libido like some dirty little secret. But here's the thing, that's a lie. And you know what's even more radical? The truth that you can have amazing sex at this stage of life, not in spite of the changes, but because of them. Because now you have the power to choose differently, to let go of the pressure to impress, to focus on connection, on presence, on what genuinely brings you pleasure. But that shift won't happen if your self-worth is still tied to outdated ideas of beauty and femininity. This is where the real work begins, not in the bedroom, but in your own mind, in how you speak to yourself, in what you believe you deserve. And let's be honest, it's not always easy. Some days the mirror feels like the enemy. Others, all you can see are the changes, the losses, what used to feel better. But what if you looked again? What if instead of focusing on what's gone, you asked yourself, what's grown? Because here's the beautiful paradox. While some things fade, others deepen. A confidence that doesn't rely on looks, but on experience. A self-worth that no longer depends on anyone's approval. A body that might not be perfect, but still offers pleasure, still knows how to respond to love, to touch, to desire. But to access all that, you have to reclaim your self-esteem. Not the one built on compliments or likes on a photo, but the one that comes from within. The one that says, I'm still here, I still matter, I still feel incredible. And maybe no one's ever told you this before, but your desire doesn't vanish. It hides. It pulls back when it doesn't feel safe. It retreats when you criticize your own body. It waits until you're ready to welcome it back. And rebuilding that bridge begins with how you treat yourself. Because pleasure isn't something you're given. It's something you allow yourself to feel. And the kinder you are to your body, the more likely it is to respond. One of the most overlooked truths about this stage of life is that intimacy begins long before actual intimacy. It starts in your thoughts, in how secure you feel within yourself, in whether you feel seen, not for how small your waist is or how youthful your face looks, but for the full, glorious, complex woman that you are. When your self-esteem is low, your sensuality shrinks. You begin to feel as though you have to earn pleasure by being thinner, prettier, more energetic. But what if you didn't have to earn it at all? What if it was already yours, just waiting for you to reclaim it? Many women say they feel invisible during menopause. It's not just a figure of speech. It's a deep, internalized experience. You walk into a room and feel like no one notices you. The adverts no longer reflect your face. The films tell you your peak attractiveness ended 20 years ago. That constant erasure has an effect. It seeps into your bones, and without realizing, you stop expressing yourself. You start dressing down, trying not to be seen, not wanting to take up space. But desire, real, fulfilling, soul-stirring desire, needs space. It needs you to feel alive, not hidden. And then there's another silent thief of sexual confidence: comparison. You compare who you are now to the woman you used to be, or to others who seem to be handling menopause better. But comparison is a trap. It robs you of joy and gives you nothing useful in return. The truth is, no one shows the full picture. Behind every perfect couple or eternal selfie is a private struggle, a moment of doubt, a conversation never had. So instead of judging yourself by an impossible standard, ask, what makes me feel good now? What does intimacy mean to me now? Not 10 years ago? Because here's the amazing thing. Your sexuality is not a frozen snapshot of the past. It's alive, it evolves, it matures with you. Maybe it moves more slowly now. Maybe it craves more tenderness, more communication, more curiosity. That's not a loss, it's a deepening. And when you give yourself permission to explore what genuinely brings you pleasure, not what you think should or what used to, you open the door to a different kind of satisfaction. One rooted in connection, not performance. Of course, this journey can feel even more complex if you're in a relationship. When you feel disconnected from your body or ashamed of your desire or lack of it, it's tempting to pull away from your partner, to pretend everything's fine, to avoid uncomfortable conversations. But silence creates distance, and often what your partner craves most is honesty. Even if it's messy, even if you don't know where to begin, you don't need to have all the answers. And if you're single, the pressure may look different, but it's just as strong. Maybe you wonder if anyone will ever desire you again, if dating at this stage is even possible, if it's all too late. Let me tell you, it's not. You're not broken, you're not past your prime, you're evolving. And anyone worth having will want all of you, not just a polished version. Because what truly draws someone in isn't a flat stomach or perfect skin. It's presence, confidence, that spark in your eyes that says, I know who I am and I'm not afraid to feel deeply. So, where do you begin? You begin by getting curious again about your body, your needs, your boundaries, your fantasies. You start listening without judgment. You give yourself grace on the days when nothing feels sexy, and encouragement on the days when it does. You practice gentleness, not just with your partner, but with yourself. You redefine what it means to be sexy on your terms. And little by little, you rebuild trust with the one person who matters most in all of this, you. Because love, your sexuality hasn't been lost. It lives inside you. It's still alive. It's still waiting. It's still yours to reclaim. And as your body transforms, so does your pleasure. Not into something lesser, but into something wiser, freer, deeper. This is not the end of your story. It's a new chapter. One where you write the rules. One where your self-worth is not up for debate. One where desire may look different but feels more real than ever. So if you've felt disconnected, unsure, or even a bit broken, know this. You're not alone. You're not failing. You're simply on the edge of something new. And if you allow yourself to cross that threshold, if you begin to treat your body as an ally, not an enemy, you may just discover a version of intimacy you never thought possible, not in spite of menopause, but because of it.